You know this moment. It's late, you're kind of awake, kind of tired, just scrolling through something you're not even going to remember tomorrow. And it feels completely harmless, right? Just another night. But what if that little moment, the one we write off as nothing, isn't really just a moment? What if it's the quiet start of a much bigger cycle? Because, as it turns out, that late-night moment, it's a rehearsal. It's the beginning of a loop that just keeps repeating. It's never exactly the same, of course, but it's close enough that your life starts to get this familiar feeling to it, a feeling you can't quite put your finger on.
And this is what that feeling looks like. That pattern from the night before just bleeds straight into the morning. It creates this predictable vibe, the same kind of tired, the same promise that, okay, tomorrow's the day, I'll fix it, but somehow tomorrow never quite shows up.
Most of us, we're not actually starting our days fresh. We think we are, but we're not. We're not opening a brand new chapter. We're just stepping back into a story that was already playing.
Yeah, this metaphor is just perfect. You wake up and you step right back into a film that was set in motion hours ago. The opening scene was written while you were scrolling, and the morning just picks up right where that last reel left off. And here's how the loop gets stronger, how it reinforces itself. It's through these tiny, almost unconscious little steps. Before you're even fully awake, a notification, a light, some little habit, it just pulls you right back into the rhythm. And the thing about these small actions is they don't make a big announcement. They just quietly add up, until one day the pattern isn't a choice anymore. It's just your default reality.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this gets to the heart of why it's so hard to change. Even when we try to do better things, build new habits, we often end up just slotting them into the exact same old structure. So the actions are different, but the fundamental rhythm of the day, it stays exactly the same.
So let's zoom out a bit. It's not just about the morning. This happens all day long. It's not about big dramatic events. It's about all these little moments where your day just quietly bends. These subtle shifts that break up your momentum without you even realizing it's happening.
Let me ask you this. You ever have that feeling where you're not exactly exhausted, but your thinking just feels kind of slow? Well, that feeling is not random. It's the result of your momentum being quietly chipped away at all day long.
And that is the real problem here. We tell ourselves, oh, I just need more motivation. But motivation was never really the issue. The real issue was that your momentum got shattered into 100 tiny, useless pieces. A quick phone check here, putting off a task there, each one is a tiny little crack in your flow. And see, your energy, it doesn't just disappear. It gets rerouted. It gets funneled into distraction, or it flows toward the easy path of comfort, or sometimes it just goes into waiting for the right time to get started. And the longer that happens, the more normal it feels to just operate a little bit below your actual capacity.
So here's the crucial part. You don't feel broken. It's not a crisis. You just feel muted. It's like a subtle dulling of your edge, like someone turned the volume down on your potential just a little bit. And because it doesn't feel like some big dramatic change, it's so easy to just mistake it for life.
Okay, let's get to the absolute core of this whole thing. So we assume the problem is just bad habits or a lack of discipline, but most of us don't actually lose our days to chaos. No, we lose them to a repetition that feels incredibly controlled. It's a perfect, unseen sequence that runs so reliably it makes us feel like we're in charge, even as it's leading us right back to where we started. Let's call it the invisible loop. And what it is the repetition of the same internal sequence. The same feelings, the same rhythm, the same reactions, even when you're trying really hard to change your external behaviors. That's the part that almost everyone misses. If you don't see the loop, all your effort just becomes rearranging the furniture inside the same old room. You think you're making progress, but you're just putting your effort into a cycle that never actually breaks. And by the end of the day, the emotional shape of it all feels stubbornly familiar. So the big question is, how do you break it? Well, this is the turning point. And the answer isn't some huge, complicated, life-changing plan. It actually starts with something way smaller and, honestly, way more powerful. Just recognizing that it's there.
Most of us don't need a brand new life. What we need is an interruption inside the one we're already living. The goal isn't to burn it all down and start over. It's just to find one small moment in that cycle and create a conscious break in the pattern.
So, where do you start looking for this loop? Here are 3 great places to watch. In the morning, just notice how fast you react to that very first trigger.
In the middle of the day, observe how easily your mind starts to drift. And at night, just watch how that cycle quietly resets itself, getting everything ready for tomorrow.
Because here's the real secret to it all. This only works when you can feel the pattern before you even try to name it or fix it. The second you start truly seeing the loop, you take away its power. It can't run on autopilot anymore. Just the simple act of seeing it brings it out of the unconscious and into your awareness. And that is where change actually begins.
Don't worry about fixing anything right now. Just observe. What's the emotional shape of your day? And what is that invisible sequence that you keep returning to